Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to EML. Once again, back with myself, and of course, one and only Deathlink 10. You can just hear the sounds of enjoyment because we are heading into round 9. It's my most disliked track, and of course, it's Singapore. I absolutely despise this. But, Alex, there's certain people out there who, I'm not going to name any names, but they're a little bit weird, who really enjoy this track. Could you give us a bit of insight to why they might?
I enjoy this track.
Well, there we go. Sorted.
It's a track that requires a lot of skill,
Right.
which is obviously why you don't like it, Josh.
Okay.
Um,
Valid.
and it's one of those circuits that has been changed in recent years, getting rid of the underneath the grandstand section, which I don't actually like. I prefer the grandstand section, but
Yeah,
hey.
they got rid of a skillful bit, yeah.
Yeah, they got rid of the skill bit and basically added another long straight, because what Formula 1 needed was long straights.
I don't know, but I'm sure a lot of the drivers here today will be thankful that they've at least got a straight they can somewhat take their mind off and really start to focus in, because we do have a very interesting lineup here today. And of course, we'll have a little look at it now. So, for the likes of CPI, we've got No Grosjean, and Nick Arrow, Jensen Randall, Eruption. And then, of course, we've got one of those drivers who saw it was Singapore and did everything in their power to try and hop in to be able to get themselves a seat here today. And of course, that'll be the one and only Dylan Warren, representing TF10. Of course, otherwise, a Ferrari Esport driver. It's going to be very interesting to see what he's going to be able to somewhat conjure up and realistically work. But we know Dylan sometimes doesn't have the best equipment with him. He sent me a little bit of a video earlier where he was messing with his analog stick. He moved it to the left. It took about 4 seconds and then it actually moved it to the left. So hopefully for his sake, he won't have to change a front wing. Otherwise, he might have to slow down to 2 miles an hour for it to be able to register that he's trying to change a front wing.
Steering input, eh?
Don't get me started on the steering input he showed. Full crank of a wheel 90 degrees and it just didn't want to work for him.
Maybe he's got stick drift.
Maybe he does. Maybe a little bit, a stick drift on a steering wheel.
It can happen.
I'm not too sure. But we do have the drivers out on track at the moment. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Cold.
Honestly, you make sure you wrap up warm, because the last thing we want is you getting horrendously ill. I mean, not only that, but the fact you're having to sit and stare at this god-awful track for what will be the majority of your afternoon. It's no way I would wish for anyone to feel.
I've got a Strepsil. I'll be okay.
You've got a Strepsil. That'll keep the burdens of Singapore at bay. As we've got the UT8 driver of Alan Bajnak starting his qualifying lap. Don't you worry, we will bring up the standings after this qualifying, because there is a lot which can be done during this race. Of course, it is the penultimate one as well. Yes,
it is. Only one more round to go after Singapore, and then we ride off into the sunset for the season.
Absolutely do. It'll be the last... Well, yeah, it'll be the last PC event here, EML, until the new game comes out, which awfully exciting, and I personally can't wait for it.
Is that the level we're at right now? Is there optimism? Over. Yeah, I think I'm at the point now. I did a race earlier around Brazil. We had literally like 8 people racing in it because people just want it done. Yes. They are at a point now where they don't want to race this game anymore, and I understand it entirely. It's not been a good cycle. In terms of the actual car driving ability, it's been very much better than last year in a lot of ways. The sliding, maybe not, but the game itself has just been unplayable for broadcasters, and
yes,
everyone tried to...
I feel like we should probably differentiate this for those of you who don't broadcast or don't run leagues. The game is a load better. It's a miles upgrade this year's title compared to last year's. It's a lot more drivable. It's a lot more fluid. It feels a lot nicer to run and compete. However, from a broadcaster and a technical standpoint, barely any of the features work, and when they do, they're very temperamental. You'll notice, for example, if you somewhat stay on this broadcast for a little while, it'll automatically decide to cut it to an onboard shot going through, I believe it's turn 9 here. Around Singapore, which is something we can't change, which means if we don't have the right audio settings, which, by the way, did have a bug, where it didn't matter what audio setting you picked.
As a feature.
It decided it didn't want to give you that. So we'll run it on broadcast audio mode to try and balance out the volumes a little bit. But as I'm sure you lot can probably hear now, if me and Alex are quiet for a bit. the cars don't sound very loud and they're a million miles away. But as soon as we hop on board, the cars decide to blast out your eardrums like it's a good old screamer band from the early noughties.
I mean, yeah, it's just been one of those. And also, I was riding on board there with someone through the bridge section, and there was no off-board camera. I was spamming the button to go into the off-board camera, and it just wouldn't do it. Either meaning it just wasn't allowing me to, or there's no off-board camera. So in terms of a broadcasting perspective, that is what I hope is improved in next year's game. I know they've taken a lot of advice from content creators in the New Year's game, so I'm hoping that maybe it's. The issue is they need a balance between towards content creators and the ability to make good content with broadcasting systems and the ability to actually have drivable cars in a competitive standing.
Well, hear me out. We just get rid of the Formula 1 cars altogether, and we just have a walking simulator around the tracks.
I think that would be better.
I feel like it could be absolutely carling. But of course, we do have the drivers currently going out on tracks, suffering around the streets of Singapore. I'm just grateful this circuit's been shortened. But, you're looking at what? 20 seconds it's been shortened by after removing that bridge. As much as I did like the little section, the little hoo-ha, it's a little bit challenging, it's a little bit different. But I am sure glad that the lap's shortened, because otherwise some of these races around here, especially when you got a DRS train everyone's backed up, they felt so tedious and so strategical that no one really wanted to make a move, no one wants to overtake. They all sort of wanted to do it in the pits. As soon as that opportunity didn't arise, it often led to carnage at the second half of the race. But hopefully, with these changes, we saw it over in EOR when I was broadcasting that slightly earlier in the year. It was a fairly solid race. It was very entertaining. There was good overtakes, practically around most of the circuit. We even had cars trying to go too wide through turns 11 12 before heading onto the bridge. Could be very exciting, could be very interesting. But so far, team out there to beat at the minute is TF10, and it's exactly what we'd expect from the likes of Dylan Moran and Jack Lav, isn't it? P2, P3, looking to apply a little bit more pressure on that current pole position spot.
Yep. Alan currently sitting on pole, the ET8 driver, with a 27.627, but Dylan right behind with a 27.636. So it is close, as expected. But yeah, I was just thinking about that. When you were mentioning about how much the lap time is shortened, I was thinking about, of course, in terms of magical pole positions we've had around this circuit. Lewis Hamilton's in what was it, 2018? I think I want to say.
Yes, and he just completely destroyed the track.
It was a 140.0 or something, a 145.0 or something like that. I can't remember.
I think it was 142.
What it was.
It was something absolutely sensational.
Yeah, and it actually beat Mercedes' simulated lap time that they had simulated on a computer around the circuit. And I remember watching it, I've watched it back a few times, and you see that through the middle sector that Kimi was 9/10 down in the middle sector on his first lap for it. The closest person that got to that first lap time was Max, and I think he was still 3/10 down. And, it's one of those things that you look at it and you think, how the hell did he pull that off? Even he couldn't even match his time afterwards, like the lap he did afterwards. Couldn't match it. And the best thing about that session that I think people forget is Mercedes were really struggling. Lewis was almost out in Q1.
Yeah,
so
I as a Ferrari fan, I was really, really excited seeing him almost go out. One of arch nemesis drivers who held Seb back for so long, stopped him from potentially getting more titles, stopped him from finishing his dream. The moment I saw he was almost out in Q1, I remember jumping for joy, thinking, yes, this is it, finally. We'll be able to get some of it sorted here. The title's pretty much wrapped up. I don't care anymore, though, because we can still get a win. But Lewis had other thoughts, and it really just goes to prove that this circuit, even with the new changes, can very much be a heavily driver-dependent circuit. When all the cars are as equal as they can be in this year's game, you would think that the drivers which have the confidence to be able to carry it through, the likes of Dylan Warren, Elias Basaris, who we're riding with at the minute, Danny Daniels, Justin Ayerts, all have that ability and that nature to really be able to maximise, their ability on track.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Ferrari as well, where you're doing it. It's a proper driver's track, this, isn't it? It's one of those circuits where you really need to be one with the car and one with the track. It's you just got to sometimes trust that the car's going to be there when you put it into a corner. If you think around this circuit for a second, genuinely, if you just think turn on your mind for a couple of seconds, you're going to go into a wall. It's one of those things where you just need to switch off, just let the car dance with you as you dance around this circuit. It's that's why I love it so much.
Certainly,
That's
it's it can be a fantastic circuit to drive on. And with the new changes, it should promote better overtaking. We saw it in the Sims. It certainly looks like it'd be a fascinating race around here. I mean, the real life counterpart, not necessarily up there with fantastic races. But for me, it showed a little bit of promise, and that's all you can really ever ask, as Alan shows a bit more promise, improving his lap time there on provisional pole. But we do have many, many drivers out there at the minute, really looking to try and improve their lap time. And one of them will be one of your favourite drivers to go against, Justin Ayerts of WOR.
Justin Ayerts and WOR. Yeah, I mean, I've raced this guy a few times. I raced him in the Alpine Community Cup. And I haven't done very well against him because, I mean, the guy's driving in literally EML. It's one of those things where he's very fast. Currently 10th in, one of the kind of the best things in the world. But in a Ferrari, now Ferrari have got lucky around this circuit in the last couple of years.
Luck, I call
Well,
it
no,
skill.
not lucky. I mean lucky in terms of they get a lot of wins around this circuit.
Skill.
Sebastian Vettel picked up most of his wins, but only in odd-numbered years. Interestingly enough, his last win in Formula One was the Singapore Grand Prix in 2019. And also, I believe his last pole? No, his last pole was Japan 2019. I know my facts.
You've got to stop with this reminding me that Seb never won a title,
He won titles.
Yeah.
He won 4 of them.
Not with a real team. Not with the
Wow.
real team. Not with his dream team.
Right, so you're saying basically he won 4 titles with Man City, but then didn't win with Manchester United.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I've annoyed 2 groups of fans in one sentence. I'm getting a record here as Justin Ayerts. Is he just starting a lap or is he? Oh, Dylan Warren.
Oh, there we go. We knew what he was going to do. We knew he was
Oh,
going to
the underdog from the underground.
Yeah, definitely an underdog. I've heard he's completely washed. He's given up on
the Coventry City of F1 drivers.
I'm not sure about Coventry City. It's more like a Wrexham.
A Wrexham. Oh, Ryan Reynolds. That's what it is. He's the Ryan Reynolds of F1.
Well, someone who's slightly new on the block is going to be the NLR team. They've rocked up P6 or P13 currently. Ricardo here is looking to improve his lap time. Where do you reckon he's going to be able to put that cyber car? Because yes, it can be a bit of a challenge around this circuit to really try and maximise the lap time, especially if you don't necessarily have that setup dialed in. You've not been able to do the practice laps. You've really got to somewhat try and eke it out, and as you mentioned, sort of flow with the car and be natural, be agile. And it can be so easy to somewhat overdrive the car when you've got such limited fuel in there in a qualifying trim.
Yeah, you never want to over. The thing is with this circuit, you can overdrive because it's again a circuit based on how you are as a driver. I don't think it actually. I'm going to sound a bit Will Buxton here for a second, so bear with me, everyone.
Okay.
I don't think it matters how fast you are around this circuit. It's how much you're willing to push it around this circuit, because you can be super fast around this circuit. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they've done time trial times after time trial times, but when it comes down to that final moment in a qualifying session where everything's on the line, how far are you actually willing to push? Get a little bit closer to that wall, brake a bit later into the corner, because like Monaco, if you get this wrong, it bites back at you. Not physically, but I mean it will get you into a wall.
So basically, what you're trying to say is, as long as I go really close to the wall, I can beat Dylan Warren.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I could, if I went into this race right now, I could go faster than Dylan in this session.
Right. I'm going to disagree with that entirely.
Okay.
On the basis that you'll get too close to the wall and hit it.
But do you agree that you have to? There is a limit of pushing it to a point that's past the limit. You can go fast around this circuit, but you'll end up in a wall. Am I saying this completely wrong?
Yes.
I feel like I'm saying it right in my head,
basically,
but it's not coming
what
out
you've
right.
said is, if you overdrive a car and you don't have full control over it, it's completely fine as long as you get close to the walls, because you'll improve your lap. which I don't think is the case.
That is what I'm saying, but it's not what I meant to say.
Yes.
It was meant to sound philosophical.
You know,
Did it sound
in order to do a
philosophical?
quick lap, you need to be in a quick car. Unfortunately, all these cars are equal. I've just fixed your sentence for you, Alex.
There you
You're
go.
welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Nordic Ninja in
The quicker
chat
you are, the
is...
faster on the top of the.
Okay, that's a well-booked moment. Nordic Ninja in chat said, by the way, is the book going to be here today? I don't know, Nordic. Is
The
the book
book?
going to be here?
I don't know where the book is. My desk is such a mess right now.
There. He's lost a book. He's lost a book.
I think it's there. Oh yeah, there's some money sitting on top of it right now, just to prove how messy my desk is.
It's priceless. As you see, Killian
It's priceless.
supposedly getting a purple second sector, but I'm not too sure how much I believe
Is that a game feature?
It might be. I mean,
He's 3/10 up.
We'll see.
It's a good lap. I think it could be. I think he's going to put it front row.
Let's have a look as he comes.
Oh, I wasn't wrong.
And it's on the front row with Dylan Warren. Brilliant stuff there from Killian. Once again, proving he's got that. He's just got that talent. He's got that ability to really try and maximise a lap, and especially
The
around
Mbappe of F1, because his name's Killian.
Oh dear. Nordic, we're not ignoring you. And yes, please report it to Mace for bullying. Because a couple of these drivers could be done for bullying, especially...
Oh, Ellis!
A couple of these blocks on circuit. I do believe that might have been Alexi behind there.
Oh, and
No.
that was cost because Elias was on a fast lap.
Yes, it is Alfonso there. Oh dear.
Alonso.
Alfonso.
Oh, Alfonso. He's Alonso's evil twin.
I sure believe he might have an evil grin to him as well. Because Saros here, his lap time going to be very much...
Off again!
In the mud. Right, okay. WOR, I hope your engineer has currently got a screen recording open because you could get 2 free reports there and get a penalty for the final round of the season.
Oh, 2 for the price of 1. It's
Exactly.
like I'm playing Supermarket Sweep.
Honestly, just keep Saros out there. Just keep getting his lap blocked. Why not go for it at this point, as he will dive back into the pits. Very much not happy with that one. And with just under a minute left on the clock, there'll be no improvement for the WR driver currently sitting in P6. But we are getting improvements from other drivers around the circuit. Alexi is going to be a prime example of that. 43 thousandths up before running it over. Just a little bit wide heading out turn 7 to invalidate his lap time. You know, given the amount of time we've been waffling, we've not really had a chance to talk about the invalidations here because they can be so detrimental.
Yeah, they can be very detrimental. Also, Alan hit the wall on his last flying lap here, but he's still going, still pushing hard. He's got a chance of pole. He's up by about 50 thousandths of a second in the first sector. What can he do in the middle sector? Riding those curbs nicely, going over the Anderson Bridge here. This is where Felipe Massa got past Bruno Senna a few years ago in Formula One. Might have been more than a few years ago now. As coming down the back straight now, DRS wide open, getting a little slipstream. Almost 2/10 up, Josh. That is enough for pole position.
So far, but you also have to consider Dylan Warren's going to be out on a flying lap, and we know when he puts his mind to it, almost anything is possible. Alan here just about to come up towards turn 16, over the curve, turn 17, run it nice and close to that exit wall, make sure not to skim it because it can cost you so much of your lap time, flicking it through 18, up towards the line now. It's been provisional pole, but it's not by much. You're looking at, what, 11 thousandths of a second.
Dylan's down.
Luke Mills.
Dylan's down in the middle sector.
Let's have a little look at Dylan Warren. What is he going to be able to achieve in this final sector? He's going to have to hope something miraculous here.
He was about 67 thousandths down in the middle sector. He's got to find something in the final sector here. He only needs a few thousandths to take provisional pole. Coming around the final corner now. Can Dylan Warren take provisional pole? He runs it very far wide and he does it right to the death. 93 thousandths up and he takes pole position unless anyone can deny him from behind. And I don't think anyone's going fast enough. Jack Lav is the last person in the top 5 to cross the line. He's just coming around the final corner now. Where can the other TF10 driver put his car? Comes around the final corner. Can he get it near his teammate on the front row? He can put it 4th, but it's still Killian. After going out a bit differently to everyone else, still manages to finish 3rd fastest.
Certainly not bad at all. Very good stuff there from Dylan. It's exactly what we'd expect. But the real question remains, throughout the course of this race, will his wheel stay intact or will it start falling to pieces like a bit of a Lego building one? Only time's going to be able to tell. Hopefully for his sake, his wheel will be able to stay on the rig and be able to at least try and turn the car. But we've seen shocks around Singapore before, haven't we, with wheels magically disappearing and not working. Fingers crossed for him. He'll be alright.
Yep, let's see what happens. Well, I don't know if we're going to get a lobby restart here, Josh, because we did have someone with a 5-place grid penalty.
Well, it's down to them to report it, of course, in the stewards chat to be able to validate it. I'm sure we'll get a cheeky little update to see if anything has happened stewards-wise. But I suppose for now, we should probably chuck it over to one of our key sponsors here at EML. Of course, that'll be NLR. So we'll catch you guys in just a hot minute. And there we go. Qualifying is sorted, and TF10 being up towards the top, exactly where they find themselves on the standing sheet, of course. With I do believe that's a 57-point gap between themselves and WR. Those are really the only two teams in contention. TF10 can wrap it all up today if they are careful. It might be one of the reasons why they pulled out the big guns, such as Dylan Warren.
Yeah, I mean, want to try and wrap it up as soon as they can, and with WR driver down in 6th and the other one down in 10th, it's going to be very difficult for them to make up positions, especially around Singapore, unless we get a little bit of rain, Josh. Singapore is known for its rain, of course. 2017, we all remember what happened at the start of that race. Max Verstappen, Kimi Raikkonen, Sebastian Vettel, and Fernando Alonso all colliding in the opening few corners. So, could we see something similar today?
Potentially. You never know, do you, really, when it comes to Singapore, what the weather's going to be like or how it's going to sort of behave. Especially considering, you know, half this track is under a highway. You could chuck on a set of intermediate tyres, and if you're not careful, that bit of a track's still going to be dry and it can catch many drivers off guard. But we are getting over towards the race start here around Singapore. And, well, it looks relatively dry here, Alex.
Yep, unfortunately, Josh, I can tell you we're going to have a restart.
Oh, dear.
Okay, someone did request it. We're going to stay in the lobby. Everyone's just retiring on the start of the race.
Now, is everyone actually going to retire, or are they going to drive kamikaze and then retire?
Well, maybe we'll get that 2017 moment, like I mentioned.
Well, there's only one time to find out. With 5 lights, let's see which ones retire immediately. Let's see which ones want to cause a little bit of chaos here. Well, Jensen Randall's certainly going for chaos there. We are seeing him go absolutely hell for leather here. We've got cars left, right, and centre. And this is why we love sim racing. A little bit of fun. Couple cars absolutely sending it. I'm sure Dylan doesn't want to get caught up in anything. I'm sure he's just hoping that his wheel will just keep working until the end of a race. With a lovely little pirouette there from the driver on pole, but, you know, Zach Vermack leading the race. You saw that one. That's the first challenge. Oh, dear.
Dylan went the wrong way.
Well, this is going to give us a little bit of time to at least consider perhaps maybe getting a little bit of a fact sheet up. Perhaps maybe a little book to try and
John the book.
Find a couple of facts. I mean, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Let's get the book.
We'll chuck it on the standings while we're currently finding the book.
I have the book.
Oh, okay. Right, what sort of facts are we going for? I want a championship fact.
Championship fact. Right, I'll see if I can find you one. Right, let's see what. There's no context. There's there's no content. What's it? What's the thing called like in a book where it tells you where everything is?
An index.
Index, that's the word.
Bloody A.
Oh.
Go
No,
on.
that's not a fact. That's not a championship fact. Hang on.
Nah, it can be. Just have a look.
Oh, here's a championship fact. In 2021, Max Verstappen clinched the title from Lewis Hamilton in the last race of Abu Dhabi. This was the young Dutch driver's first title. There you go, championship fact.
I am so glad we've heard that.
Ferrari was so dominant as a team in the early 2000s that they won the Constructors' Championship titles consecutively from 2000 to 2004.
We got Nordic there with a fact in the chat saying the driver with the most points wins the championship. Quote from Kimi Räikkönen.
That's
They
true.
Don't get much better than Kimi, do they? Let's be honest.
No, don't. Apart from this one.
Okay, go on then.
Do you know that besides his native German, Sebastian Vettel also speaks English, French, Finnish, and Italian?
And he only had to speak German and English to win a title.
Yep. What is the age limit of Formula One?
It was 16, but now it's 18.
Yeah, when was that introduced?
After Max Verstappen decided to cause millions and millions pounds worth of damage for his team and everyone else around him.
Correct, 2016. Did it. How old was Max when he became the youngest winner of a Grand Prix?
Hold on. 17.
No, 18 years and 228 days.
Yapping.
Close. How many races did it take before Jenson Button won his first Grand Prix in 2006?
Too many. I mean, he started in 2000. You're looking at what? 73.
Close, 113.
That's not that bad. 40 off.
Did you know in 2016 your favourite driver Sergio Perez scored 3 podiums and outperformed his highly profiled teammate Nico Hulkenberg?
Did you know in 2016 another one of my favourite drivers beat Lewis Hamilton in equal machinery?
Who was that?
Jenson Button. Again, no one ever
Crazy.
mentions Jenson did the exact same thing, but hey, here we are. Nico gets all the light. As Alex, you seem to have disappeared somewhat. That's not good. Alex has just disappeared. So let's chuck it back over to the lineup here, because we do have some very interesting drivers here. I mean, you look at the likes of Alan Berschnack as well, hopping himself up into P2, brilliant result. But then, question applies: where did Danny come? And you've got to look pretty far down the order, back down to P14 for Danny. So it's going to be very interesting to somewhat see the team dynamics that ETA are going to implement here. It's going to be very interesting to somewhat see the team dynamics that all the drivers are going to be able to implement here, considering they're not really close to one another, other than the Shizou drivers and the RLS drivers, currently in 16th and 19th and 17th and 20th respectively. But welcome back, Alex.
I'm back. Sorry, I just had to chat to someone quickly. We're going through facts, aren't we?
Yes.
So, beginning in the 1970s, this is when you were alive, Josh, Bernie Ecclestone rearranged the management of Formula One's commercial rights. He is widely credited with transforming the sport into the multi-billion-dollar business it is now.
I feel like we shouldn't talk about Bernie Ecclestone.
A lot to unpack in that sentence, Josh. Yeah, maybe. You might be right.
Maybe. I feel like we should talk about Maze for setting up this PC tier instead. He's like Bernie Ecclestone.
Maze?
Yeah,
but better in every way.
Yes.
Yes.
Apart from being creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
Bernie's got that one.
What?
Bernie's got that one on lock. Doesn't matter what Maze does, Bernie's always going to be creepy.
Did you know that French driver Romain Grosjean went the most races without a pole position with 181 entries?
That's not true.
Not anymore. This book was of 2021.
Okay, never mind.
Sorry, all facts correct of April 2nd, 2022. Do you think they released it on April 2nd because they realised that if they had it on April 1st, people would think it would be a joke?
Oh, the book
and this is
a joke.
no joke of a book.
No, the book is a joke. The book's a horrendous joke.
Well, talking of other non-horrendous jokes, the race is getting back underway, Josh.
Well, it certainly is. So let's check it back over to the beautiful multiplayer event screen, just in case you forgot and you thought this race was single player. The game does a brilliant job to remind you that you are racing against other people, or in our case, we're watching other people.
Certainly.
As Max is saying, Dylan going to pick up the free victory royale. I don't think he will, I feel like Dylan's wheel is just not going to work into turn one. And it'll be a very expensive victory royale because he'll have to get a new one.
Well, we'll find out, aren't we?
Nordic as well saying, the book should add, did you know Nordic Ninja has a rock from the Monza F1 circuit around Lesmo too? That's a very interesting fact, because
That is an interesting fact.
actually have a brake marker board from Silverstone.
You know what I have from a Grand Prix?
Nothing, because you've not been to one.
No,
You've not been to one, guys.
I've not been to a Grand Prix.
Imagine
I haven't
how
been
good.
lucky enough to be invited.
I'll tell you what, if you behave yourself and you're nice, might be able to sort something out for Silverstone. But
We'll go to Monza together.
No, I'm not.
And I'll wear
taking
my
you to-
Red Bull shirt, and you
You're-
can wear your Ferrari shirt.
Oh no, I'll join in on the beatdown.
We could just have a hug in the middle of Monza, and either I'm gonna get beaten down or you're gonna be saved. It's gonna be one of the two options. You're wearing a Ferrari shirt today, even though it's orange.
No, it's not a Ferrari shirt, but I
It's a
suppose
McLaren one.
it's
He
not
likes
a
papaya.
McLaren one. I suppose I've always got the blood of Formula One inside me.
Josh 2024. I've always got the blood of Formula One inside me. Well, anyway, the blood of Formula One is about to get underway, Josh. As we go to 5 red lights here. And we're underway for the Singapore Grand Prix. And it's a good start from our pole sitter, Dylan Warren, as he races into turn 1. Followed by Alan, who's gonna push Killian White there into turn 1 as they go wheel to wheel through the first set of corners. We've got a yellow flag in the first sector there. That is for the Haas driver of Danny Daniels, who's already suffered problems at the start of this race. But a great start from Dylan Warren as he leads this Grand Prix by almost 7/10 of a second.
It's exactly what we'd expect from Dylan, isn't it? He just wants to get away. He just wants to be able to run his own race, not necessarily try and get himself too caught up, as we do see the WOR car of Elias and Alfonso there having a little bit of a squabble. I'm sure Saras was trying to get one of his own back for that blocking qualifying, ran him out very, very wide through turn 7. But everything considering, we've only got Danny Daniels off the back of the field. Everyone else has kept it very much fairly, relatively
Oh,
clean.
crash!
Oh, I shouldn't have said anything, should I? As
And
Alexei
it's
Casavo.
Yeah, it's one of the PR drivers and the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, dear. I mean, I knew we took the time trying to get into the lobby. I didn't know I was going to take the time trying to get out of it as well. Unfortunately, there for Alexei, he's falling back down into P19. Not ideally the race start he would have wanted, but you've got to consider, when it comes to Singapore, there's so much opportunity to get yourself back into the race, whether it's going to be safety car, VSC, certainly something here.
Red flags? Are red flags on?
No, but I can wave one if you want. I'm not sure it would really help, and I'm not sure if the drivers are watching the stream, but I can wave one.
Just wave a red flag for no reason.
Also,
Well,
Nick
Dylan
Fat
Warren
from Silverstone.
sets the fastest lap of the race. You were one of those protesters that ran on the circuit, wasn't it? That's what you were.
No. But I also nicked some of the paint from the start-finish straight.
Ah, nice. Just to take the memento from
Yeah.
home. Well, Danny Daniels is already in the pits. Is that to retire or is that to go on a different strategy? Probably to go on a different
strategy, surely. Put a set of soft tyres on an absolute wing, get and wait for a safety car, surely. As we see Dylan there getting that purple sector 1. Of course, we don't have the real-life benefit of DRS opening on lap 2, so he's got a little bit longer here, where he can really try and pull away, try and cause Alan a bit of pain, and get out that DRS range. But of course, he will have to be very thoughtful with the battery usage. As Nordic says, Joshua is the reason why the boards at the GPS say red warning, stealing tracks property will be punished for at least 5 laps straight. Yes. I am the sole proprietary reason. Anything which has ever been taken from a racetrack was myself, but for legal reasons, it was all Alex's idea, and he owns the property.
I've never been to a track for legal reasons.
Yeah, you send me in to get there.
Yellow flag.
Eruption and Zach the Mac towards the back.
Oh!
A little bit of an incident.
There's
Out of
front wing
respect,
everywhere.
I'm not going to show the incidents which happened over the bridge, because last time I did that, there was potential for a bit of trouble. So hopefully everyone's going to be able to keep it somewhat on track towards the front and behave themselves properly and try and get some very good clean race here, because Alan is doing everything in his power to try and hold on to this DRS range. But Dylan knows exactly what to do, and he's trying to burn as much battery as possible.
He used all of it.
Well, he might have done it to a very good extent here, because we've got Alan as well deployed his battery, doing everything in his power to try and keep up with Dylan. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a very tough one to try and break the DRS round here, especially considering everyone's on that hard compound tyre.
Yep, everyone is literally on the same tyre compound, apart from the 3 at the back, being Danny Daniels, Eruption, and Ricardo. all on those medium tyres. But yeah, Alan kept within DRS, but at what cost? I think he's on what I would consider low battery amount.
Yeah, it is a very low battery amount. You can see that red light flashing already, as we've got Killian slightly further behind Alan, having a little bit more battery to play with, but by a little, you can clearly see there was a very, very little amount. You're looking towards about that 30%. This is somewhat the natural occurrence which used to happen around the old Singapore circuit, wasn't it? Where everyone would somewhat fall back by just over a second. No one's going to get the DRS. Someone deploys battery, starts to close it, then has to back off, thinking, right, I'm going to be vulnerable to the car behind if I don't have any battery. It's very much a concertina effect, which quite often happens around here. But you've got this new straight, which to me should have DRS on it.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't.
We might as well chuck DRS there. If you're going to chuck it around a couple of the straights around Australia, you might as well chuck it here as well. But we do have drivers staying within a 1 second, somewhat comfortably, and one of them is going to be Alfonso here in P10, looking to try and hunt down the TTM driver of Luke Mills.
Is the reason why there's not DRS there is because it's not a heavy braking zone at the end of it?
No, it's a 90-degree corner.
Oh, that's true. Did Tilke design that?
That could be a fun quiz game, couldn't it? Did Tilke design it, or did he not? Well,
well, we call it something like Tilke or no Tilke.
Could do. It'd be like a very bad version of Deal or No Deal.
But without the banker. Or, the other one. Who's the guy that hosted it?
You talking about the weird one?
Can't remember his name.
The one which somewhat looks like Richard Branson, but isn't.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, no idea his name.
Josh Griffin Meek, that's what his name is.
That certainly was not, I'm telling you.
Well, Killian made a huge mistake there on the Anderson Bridge. I don't know if you know this, but Felipe Massa got past Bruno Senna in 2012 on the Anderson Bridge. God, that was almost 12 years ago.
Yeah, just reading the chat there. Considering that Killian's a PlayStation driver who's made the jump over to PC, you gotta say, he's doing very, very well. Currently holding his own in P3. Of course, Jack's applying the pressure little by little, but considering he's not too far off the back of the likes of Alan, of Dylan Warren, who of course is simply the GOAT around Singapore, and Monaco. Honestly, he's a bit like Checo Perez, apart from he deserves his seat because he's just fantastic.
Wow.
No,
I mean, how can you be so mean to Checo? He didn't finish second in the best car on the grid.
Again. Anyway, moving on from real life. Dylan, you know he's fantastic. Jonah's in chat. Cheering Dylan on. It's just perfectly fair, and you're going to see the TF10 cars probably relatively soon start somewhat orchestrating a plan together. Well, that's going to be Dylan doing a shot call in, saying, hey, the Williams is deploying battery here, make sure you match it, so you can try and catch back up to get back within the DRS, because you will be quicker. And somewhat just having a little bit of a toy around, because there's a lot of these different scenarios you can do around Singapore, which may or may not involve putting a car in a wall, but hopefully no one's going to do that.
Yeah, we don't want a crash gate situation.
We just don't want any DNFs, to be quite honest with you. It's a bit sad, really.
You remember what happened in 2009, Josh? You know what happened in 2009?
I do. I've got a hat from that weekend, signed by both Alonso and Nelson Piquet Jr. That must have been very awkward.
Conspiracy. That cap is probably worth a lot of money, Josh.
I don't care. It's mine. It says to Josh. Unless a person called Josh buys it, it's not going to have the same value.
To Josh, please don't report us to the FIA. Who knew that Josh Griffin Meek was actually part of Crashgate in 2009?
Nelson Piquet Jr. certainly did. But let's move swiftly on from the controversy around the circuit and talk about some of the positive aspects. Carlos Sainz stopped Max Verstappen's win streak.
He did. He stopped him winning 22 out of 23 races.
Well, there we go. Positives.
There we go. Positive.
Wait, hold on. Singapore Sling,
and Charles Leclerc took a pole position here.
Yep, that's that rounds up the positives of the circuit for me. I'm
trying to hang on. I'll think of another one.
Go on, then.
Nico Rosberg beat Lewis Hamilton in equal machinery around the circuit in 2016.
Yep.
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 Uh,
The bridge is cool.
Liam Lawson scored his first points in Formula One around here.
I believe it was also the first night race Formula One ever had.
Yes, it was. Um,
Yep.
it's probably the best modern day street circuit we have.
Sure, that's a take.
Name one better.
Vegas.
Name another one.
Jeddah.
Name another one.
Is there another one?
It was
Madrid.
Miami.
Oh well, Miami's not better.
Exactly. Well, so the top four are you're saying are what? I didn't even remember the first one. Can't remember what the first one was.
Vegas.
Vegas, Jeddah, Singapore, Miami.
Yeah.
There's more street circuits than that in Formula One.
Monaco, but Monaco's not new.
That's true.
Albert Park, but it is. It's not a street.
not a
it's a
street
park.
circuit.
It's a park circuit.
So there's 4 street circuits in Formula One, and Singapore is the 3rd best.
So far, Madrid's going to come in and be better. And Matt says.
Yep,
something.
can't wait for the roundabout.
Hanoi was better. I'll fight
Hanoi?
that to the death.
We should have raced at Hanoi. We did in some sim racing. We certainly did in some sim racing. I actually held the time trial world record there in a Brawn GP car.
Why?
Because I was doing classic cars around it, and I beat your beloved F2004 with the Brawn 2009 car.
That's fine. Sometimes some people need an illegal diffuser to be able to gain an advantage, but someone who certainly doesn't need an illegal diffuser to gain any form of advantage is going to be Dylan Warren. Now 1.9 seconds up the road from Alan, and Jack has caught back up within the DRS of the Williams car. I know we said TF10 could wrap up the title here, but if they do it in a 1-2, that would be absolute tremendous fashion for these riders.
Well, it certainly would be. That's how you wrap up a title. Call it a day. Don't even need to turn up next week. That's what you do it. Or send maybe some rookies. That's how you do it.
Give them a chance.
Give them a chance to show what they can do. But yeah, if you think we're waffling in chat, then we are. Because right now everyone's stuck in a DRS train and there's nothing to talk about.
We've got Nordic first saying Jeddah number 1, Vegas number 2, Singapore number 3. Bring back Singapore Sling. I completely agree. I feel
I like
should.
the Singapore Sling. Yeah. I think for these new versions of cars, it'd be good.
George Russell wouldn't have crashed.
Yes, very true. But Crofty has some sort of curse on George Russell when Carlos Sainz is winning. Every race Carlos Sainz has won, George Russell has crashed in.
It's just poor. It's just poor. Ninja also says bring Venice Beach back at this point. Long Beach, he means.
Long Beach. Isn't that a really terrible track?
I don't know. That's like saying bring Adelaide back. It's not. It's not.
Oh, Adelaide.
No,
what a circuit that is.
No, it was, right? You got to think, it was small for the cars back then. Imagine with these cars, you wouldn't be able to go too wide around any of the corners because the curbs would just brutalise the floor of the car.
Senna's pole lap around that circuit. Oh.
Ugh.
I mean, talk about some lap.
I mean, for me, it's that one, Kimmy's lap around Monaco in the McLaren.
Lewis around Singapore?
Lewis around Singapore. Max with what could have been at Jeddah, just photoshopped the last, like...
Oh, Jeddah 21. Oh my god, that would have been one of the most perfect laps in Formula 1. But it wasn't to be, unfortunately.
And then, it might sound a little bit odd, but Sebastian Vettel's lap in Nigel Mansell's Williams around Silverstone.
Yeah. Isn't that was biofuel, wasn't it? Used in that car?
Yes. Just for being able to see it go through Maggots Beckett's and up towards Stone Live was just something else. It was fantastic.
I'm just thinking of other pole laps that I've just been in awe of.
Dylan Warren, Singapore.
Dylan Warren was a good one. Yeah, that was a good one in Singapore. I just thought of Do you remember Lewis Austria 2020 in the full wet rain?
Yes.
I know he had a rocket ship of a car, but still. Yeah, so we're on lap 10, if anyone's wondering how the race is going. And
No
right now,
overtakes for the last, I want to say 4 laps. I know Luke Mills had a little bit of a spin coming through the final corner, but other than that, everyone's just been following each other, recharging the battery.
Keep an eye on Jack, though. Jack is closing in on Alan here. We could see an overtake, Josh. Get hyped. There's an overtake coming here. I think Jack's going to get him down the back straight now. So here we go. DRS wide open here for the McLaren of the TF10 driver. Will he pull to the inside? Will he pull to the outside? Will he go for a duck? No, he's too far back.
Will he even pull closer towards a Williams car?
Nope.
That's my question.
Well, I tried to get some hype going. I'm sorry, everyone. I did my best.
All right, okay. Give me a shot next time out. We're going to get that.
All right.
Tell you what,
put me in, coach.
Jack just needs a little bit of encouragement, and I'll give it him. TF10 1-2's coming up. Either that or he'll end up in a wall. Either way,
there's no in between.
I'll be honest with you.
The country curse is quite substantial.
No matter what. But Ricciardo looking to close up here to the back of Zach Lamack. So we can see Ricciardo here on the medium compound tyre. He's looking to go to the inside, darts it back towards the outside of that right-hander, but he's going to be selecting the inside here. Heavy braking down into turn 7. He's not quite on the page to be able to put alongside Zach Lamack, despite him being on fresher and softer rubber. You can see how much of a cleaner exit he gets. Zach is all over the defensive line of the road, but Ricciardo's going to be able to switch it back to the left-hand side, approaching up towards turn 10 here. Going to be last of the late breakers, getting that inside, clunking over the curb, breaking it on the apex. Solid move there from Ricciardo to make it the first real overtake of the day.
He's doing the Ricciardo name proud, Josh.
He certainly is. Absolutely sensing it. Brilliant.
Brilliant move there from Ricciardo into 17th place.
Go on,
now we return to the...
Give Jack the confidence. He needs it.
Jack the confidence.
Yes.
Well, we'll return back to the battle for second place. Jack is a bit close here. Jack is a lot closer. He pulls to the outside line. He's going to go down the inside. The McLaren driver, the TF10 driver, takes second place. He's now a TF10 1 and 2 here at Singapore. I was going to say Saudi for a second, but we're at Singapore. Oh, and Killian picks up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, Josh.
It's not the first one today, and it won't be the last one. This circuit could be so punishing regarding track limits around here. It can be somewhat, some might argue unfair, but at the same time, you do have to consider that if you are going off the track, you are still going off the track. You might not be gaining an advantage, but you are not staying within the white lines. At the end of the day, that's what the rule states. It doesn't matter if you gain an advantage, you go over the white lines. That's it. End of the day, you should be getting yourself a warning. And considering, you mentioned already about overdriving the car, but really trying to push it. You end up doing it a little bit too much, you end up picking up those time penalties. Another reason why your Will Buxton comment doesn't work.
They didn't listen to my philosophical story about not exceeding track limits.
You never gave one.
I can give one now if you want.
Yeah, go for it. As we see Jack having a little wobble out the final corner, and Alan.
Oh, he's getting closer.
To have a little bit of a sniff there, but he's going to have to wait for an opportunity down into turn 7 once again. Down the Raphael Boulevard.
Paul Alfonso gets himself a 3-second time penalty. Alonso's evil twin. I am Paul Alfonso.
Honestly,
that's what he sounds like.
Sometimes you wind me up, honestly.
Sometimes I wonder why I'm not on the F1 Esports broadcasts.
Because your name's Deathlink. They can't
That's
say
true.
that.
Well, just call me Alex then.
That's what I try to do.
You don't have to just mention my name. That's my alter ego, Josh.
What?
I'll go mental on you.
Murderlink 10.
No, you can't say that on YouTube.
Oh,
okay,
sorry.
you cancelled.
That's...
Unalived.
Unalived Link 10. There you go. But chat, while we've got a little bit of downtime here.
A lot of downtime.
I say, as we're currently watching the DRS train still in full.
We're trying our best, chat. We're really are.
To be entertaining. It can be a bit tough. I'll see you in chat. Give us your thoughts about Singapore. What would you change to try and make this a bit more of an exciting race? Being Alex, I've already said, chuck a DRS zone between turn 14 and 16. Give it a little bit of fun. What would you do? Completely open to you. Change anything you want about the circuit.
Well,
What else would you change, Alex?
what else would I change? Um, it's tricky because obviously it's a street circuit, and it's very tricky to maybe. Obviously, turn one is very good. The sharp, like braking zone left-hander, but it's very difficult to make any moves into that corner. So maybe I don't know. Maybe open it up, make it more like a hairpin left-hander instead of a like fast left. Because the only move I've seen into that turn one is when Daniel Kvyat went past Kimi Raikkonen, and Kimi broke his like they went slam into each other, and Kimi broke his axle. So I don't know, maybe widen the corners a little bit, but it's one of those circuits which is quite tricky to improve.
I like Will Gibson's idea. Pull it off the calendar and you put Hockenheim in. Good choice. If I had to come up with a creative solution for this,
Yeah, if you had to keep it, it has to stay on the calendar.
If I had to keep it, I would try and get the upper highways involved and give it a bit of elevation change. It'll be like one of those Grand Theft Auto ramps where you like.
Oh, good idea.
You go up, you get up to the upper highway, and if you don't hit the brakes while you're going up, you're going to absolutely sail over the edge. Forces them to brake.
You know what? I like that idea.
Go for a move down the inside there. Next thing you know, you get a helicopter crash. One of them's flying onto the bottom track below. Picks up a mushroom and ends up getting a little bit of a speed boost out of it. Easy work.
I just appreciate the 33 people that are currently watching us waffle about random stuff here for Singapore. Thank you, everyone.
It does mean a lot because we knew coming into this it wasn't going to be the most action-packed race. We had high hopes. We tried to somewhat seem like it was going to be an absolute barnstorm of a race, but at the end of the day, sometimes it just doesn't go the way you want. Similar with Elias's race so far, not going the way he wants, having to swap the positions around of the WR cars, letting Justin, your arch nemesis of the Alpine Community Cup, move himself up into P7.
Justin!
1.8 second gap now to Erwin, currently in P6.
Yeah.
It's
not gone well for Dura.
We're starting to see the gaps open up more, and you would have thought this might be a good time to potentially see a couple, cars dived it in the pits, having a little bit of a strategy call, but we're all on the hard tyres, so we're not even going to see that one.
Yeah, the issue, again, so something interesting that a league that I'm racing in is done recently, and I want to see your thoughts on it, Josh, is we trialled a system at the start of the year where you had to use all 3 tyre compounds in the race. So you had to use hard, mediums, and softs during the race. Now, I think that idea isn't terrible, but I think if it was refined to a point where you are mandatorily set to like a 2-stop, then maybe it'll be more interesting. Because I think everyone doing the same tyre sets, like if you do that system where everyone has to use the hard, medium, soft, you're not going to see everyone start on the same tyre.
I don't know, because Karun Chandok's had this point for the last 6 years, and no one's listened to him. And I feel like there's a good reason why they don't listen to him.
I like Karun. He's a better pundit than people thought.
Yes. Better than DeResta.
Oh, 100% better than DeResta. I mean, DeResta is just a jealous man.
But he beat Lewis Hamilton, right? I'm just checking that one.
He did. He says it quite a lot, and yeah. What? Actually, can I actually get people's thoughts? This is another question for everyone. Thoughts on Nico Rosberg's commentary in F1? Because I'm genuinely a massive fan of the insight he gives during races.
I'm somewhat of a fan of it. I'd say it's might need to be scaled back a bit.
Yeah.
Not go as in depth because he does get carried away a little bit, but I can just tell because he's excited. So if he was able to somewhat put a bit of a restraint on it, similar to what Martin Brundle's able to do, I feel like he'd be absolutely fantastic. But at the same time, I feel like you could say that about most of the ex-drivers. Jenson Button's another great example. David Coulthard and Mark Webber are another great example. They're fantastic when they do decide to open their mouths and give something which isn't biasy out of it. It's fantastic.
Isn't it great? Isn't it fantastic? Something I will sometimes give to Crofty is I like Crofty as a play-by-play commentator. Yes, he makes mistakes. Of course, everyone does. Me and Josh make them all the time.
I don't know what you mean.
We don't ever make mistakes anytime.
Well, no Grosjean coming back in towards the pits. Yoda Martin saying, commentators wake up. NLR Killian just blew up his front wing and lost like 4 places. He's also got a 3-second time penalty to add to that, Yona. So regardless of what he's going to be able to do come the race, regardless if he's able to pick up more damage, it's not really going to impact the VSC. He's going to be put out the front pack. More importantly, cars are starting to come into the pits to get on a fresh set of mediums. That's what I like to see, because it'll add an actual bit of variety. And it'll stop me from falling asleep, as we do see the WR cars once again rejoining in unison. Perhaps having to go once again for another switcheroo, because the undercut has worked out for Saros, being able to get the jump back on his teammate. Certainly going to be very interesting looking forward.
Ferrari's causing themselves an undercut at Singapore. Where have I heard this one before?
Oh, stop, behave. Because we are getting a couple of cars looking to try and make some very clinical moves here. Noah Grosjean making his defence on Luke Mills. Luke Mills here having to somewhat back up the pack. Of course, he had that little bit of a spin earlier. He knows he's got the pace to hold on to these guys, but just because of that tyre difference, it's looking absolutely fantastic for the WR cars who are going to be looking to slip themselves by, get the move sorted nice and easy. But Luke Mills has got something to say about that. He wanted to turn in across them, and of course a little bit of tie-to-tie contact. No damage picked up there, but Luke Mills surely be ruining that decision to try and fight so hard for us. We've got, once again, another beautiful camera angle there. Fantastic stuff.
Dylan's in the pits.
Yeah, Dylan's in the pits. It'll come out miles ahead, let's be quite honest. But Yoda makes a great point. Why is Grosjean racing? I thought he was supposed to be doing IndyCar, no?
Is he still IndyCar? I thought he left.
I don't know. That's Grosjean. He's racing.
I don't know. I'll ring him up. Grosjean?
Oh dear.
No, he's occupied.
Honestly,
He's occupied.
You and the waffle. It never seems to stop. But something which also doesn't seem to stop is going to be Alan's little bit of a charge here to try and get back onto the rear of Jack Lav's car for TF10. Try and apply a little bit more pressure as we've got Erwin diving it into the pits, losing a position out there to know once again. Now, surely this is a moment we're going to think a couple of these cars are really going to be trying to make overtakes, really trying to put in a little bit of work to get the positions where it's needed. Because this is their opportunity now. They're all on a fresher set of tyres. They've got the grip to burn. They should theoretically have the battery. This should be where it gets exciting, as we do have a yellow flag there for, I do believe that's...
Dylan?
Dylan slightly further up front.
I think Dylan's got some... Oh, I think Dylan's got what we like to call in the F1 game a feature. Oh no, he's got a full-blown feature.
Oh dear.
Dylan Warren has disconnected from the lobby.
Just knew it was going to happen. I'll tell you what, we're going to chuck it on a quick pause screen. Because his game has crashed. Being able to chuck him an invite there, try and get him back in as soon as possible. It's one of the perks you get for adding the commentators. I always try and encourage it. Add the commentators, add the observers, whoever it is. They can try and get you back in the game
Jack!
as soon as possible.
Oh god, it's all fallen apart for TF10 in a lap.
You know, we did mention about that 1-2 earlier. Are we slightly to blame for this?
The commentator's curse is strong with this one. I think he's going to come out ahead of Dylan as well.
I mean,
because of how slow Dylan's AI is going.
It's ridiculously slow. Look at it. It's like going half throttle down the straight. That's like my lap times.
Yeah, I think he... Oh, no, he's got in front. He has got in front. But so is Grosjean. Grosjean into third.
Not Roman Grosjean makes himself up into a net P2 here, and Dylan's been able to rejoin. Is the game going to give him the favourite feature where it decides to not let him take control of the car
and then
again?
Retire you?
Oh dear. You can
Dylan's no longer race leader. He's not net race leader anymore. Grosjean's net race leader.
He's not even back. I thought he got back there for a second.
No.
Dylan might have an awful lot of work to do here to try and get this sorted. Dylan, once again, confirming it was a wheel malfunction, unfortunately for him. And he will lose a position there to Jack. Again...
He can't take control.
He can't take control. I'm very much hoping it'll be a matter of seconds before he's able to hop back into that McLaren, because this is ruining his race. He had such a good run up out.
He's got to get in. Allow him to rejoin game. Come on.
Harry Nuns is saying, how is Noah Grosjean in the net lead if Dylan doesn't join back? Because Danny's not pit yet. And Noah's just being consistent. He's been there. He got a cheeky bit of an undercut. He's done all right. You got to give credit. Harry, it's okay. Just give him a
Danny's in the pits. Oh, Dylan's gone again.
Dylan's gone again.
No.
Oh, no. Well, the CPI car of Noah Grosjean going to be leading this race now, with Jack Lav hot on his heels, looking to try and catch up at a rapid rate to knots.
Jack's got 5 seconds though.
Yeah, but we saw Dylan pull out 5 seconds. All it'll take is a little bit of luck, maybe even a bit of rusties, and Jack too could find himself in Dylan Warren's seat. Being 5 seconds up the road, being able to cruise a little bit easier, charge a little bit more battery. But given all that, this race has just blew up sideways for TF10.
It certainly has. TF10 1-2, TF10 1-2 turned into a 2-6 at the moment, and we don't even have Dylan Wallen in. Justin Ayerts is in 4th, trying to. I honestly don't know. I don't know if TF10 are going to wrap the title up, Josh.
They might not. That's kind of a crazy thing to say, but you'd still have to think odds are forever going to be in their favour. They do have quite a substantial point gap, of course, 57 points. You know, realistically, you consider it. There's a chance.
Dylan's back.
Dylan's rejoined. Is he actually going to be able to get in the car? I'm seeing a note.
Oh well, Elias just jumped back behind him.
Oh dear, we've even got desync happening now because the amount of times people are leaving and rejoining. It's not.
Come on, Dylan.
Good. But
you take control of that car.
He's trying to apply a little bit of pressure here to Saros here for the battle for P10. Soon to be P9 when Dylan's ghost gets overtaken. Oh dear.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
He's back. Well, Dylan has a lot of work to do from P10 to
race is on.
Back up into P1. This is very much a P10 to first challenge now for Dylan Warren. I'm sure he won't mind the overtaking, but again, it's not going to be the easiest challenge he would have ever faced. So hopefully he'll be able to crack something up.
Well, if he's going to show his pace, he's got to show it now. As Jack Lav also takes the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. Dylan Warren takes 9th place ahead of Elias, and also got the which driver is that? It's the PR driver into 10th as well.
Yes, Alexi. There you go.
Alexi.
Hopefully that's fixed it for you, Yona. Hopefully you're able to hear me okay now. But no, you say Dylan should get a podium here. I'd be lying to say I don't agree with you. I mean, 11 laps, currently in P9. You know the pace he's got. Everyone does. He's a fantastic driver. At least in the top 5, and that's if he gets caught up and stuck behind a couple cars in that middle sector. Surely you would consider him to be at least up there, really trying to push it a little bit harder. Killian as well, 4-second gap between P6 P5. That's going to be a large mountain to break, especially considering these guys might start considering maybe doing a bit of ERS trading, a bit of DRS swapping as well. There's potential for it.
Well, there certainly is potential for that, Josh. Alan is right up back behind Grosjean right now, looking to take P2 away from the CPI driver. Then Justin Ayerts just behind as well. Dylan 1.5 seconds behind Alfonso. I always say Alfonso, it's Alfonso, isn't it? But Alexi gets another a first 3-second time penalty. Alan should get Grosjean down the main straight here, but he's got no battery, so he's actually not gaining any time down the back straight. So right now, they're all just sitting in each other's DRS. Dylan does not have DRS, and that is why he's not catching the car in front at the moment, Josh.
You know, the first part of this race was like travelling across country to go to your aunt's house for lunch, right? It was somewhat of a snooze fest. You could have had a nap. Now this is the part where you start smelling the food being cooked in the kitchen while you're still asleep. You started to wake up, you started to realise, hold on, there's got to be some pretty good scran here. And I'm not talking McDonald's chicken nuggets, I'm talking gourmet, right?
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets with barbecue sauce gourmet level, right?
Oh.
This is going to be an S-tier finale. We've got many different somewhat storylines approaching. Where's Dylan Warren going to be able to finish after the game's decided to try and screw him? Is Alan going to be able to somewhat retake that net lead that he's showed the promise for in qualifying? Is TF10 going to be able to wrap up the championship? And is Grosjean finally going to be able to get himself a win in Formula 1? There's so many different things here.
Yep, there certainly is so many different things. People think Dylan's going to finish 6th. Well, there is time penalties in front of him, and then there's quite the gap. There's about 5 seconds gap between Killian and Erwin. So that's 6th to 5th. So 6th could be on the cards, but there we go. First move done. Dylan up into 8th place as he looks to now chase the Wizard of Oz. The wonderful Wizard of Oz. Because. Sing the rest of the song, Josh.
Yes, because I know the Wizard of Oz. I wear a tin suit. Yes, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I wear a tin suit.
Yes,
That's what he
so
said. He said it, folks.
yep. Ize, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. I won't lie to you. Uh, IJZE in chat said P6, P5 were still champs. Certainly will be. He's got a little bit of work to do to get there though, but he's certainly looking very aggressive and very determined to get himself up there and try and make a couple moves.
Is that only if Jack Lav wins because he's got 5 seconds?
Yeah.
Oh, down the inside. Oh, it's a very tricky place to make an overtake. I wish I had a decent camera angle of it, but they're still wheel to wheel. I'm just watching a stupid onboard of his front right tyre. But here we go, down the main straight, DRS wide open, he's up into 7th place. So yeah, does Jack need to win because they're going to finish... Jack's going to finish currently P5 and Dylan will currently finish P6. So I assume he's put P5 and P6 not together. Yes. That's fine. That's enough to be the champs. Good.
Yes, I do believe so. As we do have a overtake for P2 though, Alan getting the move sorted on No Grosjean, and Jack slowly pulling his lead out bit by bit here, now 1.7 seconds. And I say slowly, bit by bit, because in comparison to his teammate, Dylan is absolutely flying now.
Into 6th.
8 laps to go, 5.6 seconds. I think he can get higher than P6 here.
I think he's got a chance, 100% got a chance, because everyone else in front is stuck in a DRS train and they're going to be battling in a few laps' time anyway, so I think Dylan's well in for a podium this afternoon.
Do I commentary curse this one? Chat, can I have your opinion? Do I commentary curse it? Alex, do I commentary curse it?
The commentary curse is strong, Josh. Be careful.
All I need is one yes in chat and we're doing it. That's all I'm going to say. But it has been somewhat of a entertaining race so far, as we got Justin there and Erwin trying to go side by side, heading into that awkward turn 10, 11, 12, deciding to back out there. And Justin now looking to try and catch up to the rear of No Grosjean, who's lost that DRS touch. Certainly looking solid so far as Justin, but at the same time, he's got a little bit more work to do if he wants to try to hold on to a very good points result there in P4 for WOR, because at the end of the day, they might just have to settle for P2 in the championship.
Yeah, I think at the moment, unless some miracle happens, we're going to need a miracle here, as one man said before. Wow. Jensen Randall gets up into 9th place. As Dylan now only 4.3 seconds behind the car in front, as Erwin pulls to the inside here to try and take Justin Ayerts down the back straight, down the inside. Erwin moves up into 4th place ahead of Justin Ayerts.
I'll tell you what, I'll say it. I'll say the curse. I'm surprised we've not had a safety car yet. We're 24 laps in and there's no safety car and there's already a yellow flag.
That.
And again.
You better not.
Oh, I tried. It wasn't quite on the cards. Apparently the country curse had a little bit of a nerf in the recent patch.
Yeah, it's not as strong. Oh, yellow. Oh my god, no, I think... What was that yellow flag for?
I'm not sure, and I'm still not sure.
I don't know. Anyway, it's fine. I'm sure there won't be a safety car this race.
That might have been Jack?
My commentator's curse is stronger than yours is.
Okay, right. Let's not get into a pissing contest of commentary curses.
Let's not test fate.
That's only going to end one way, and we both know it'll be very depressing for the drivers racing. And the last thing we want is to cause them more misery than being on a Singapore circuit and having the flashing lights blind you around every apex. And yeah, I'm very much surprised as well, especially with the likes of more of these night circuits coming in. Of course, you can race Monaco at night now as well. But the drivers seemingly are very much okay to be able to readapt their sight towards these sort of circuits from different times in the qualifying of a race, because it's something I really struggle with whenever I used to do career mode. I know, I'm at get me racing in career mode, but it's something I always used to struggle with.
I think it's one of those things that, as someone who's done a lot of racing in real life as well, you just sort of turn off to everything else apart from what you're actually doing. Like, if you're racing, your brain is only thinking on one thing, not to the weather or to the sun or anything else for it. I had a race once where my seat broke and my arse was scraping across the floor, and I could not think of anything but that for the entire rest of the race, and I was slower because of it.
That's not ideal, because certainly Erwin's seat is working, because he's just been able to
It
make that
certainly
move
is.
on no Grosjean through that first sector, looking to try and pull away a little bit of the gap here, because Grosjean seems to be somewhat struggling with pace right now, and I do believe it'll be down to his battery usage and the overall deployment of it. He's
I think Dylan
somewhat
can win this.
in contention. So, stop gaslighting Dylan. He's doing his
No,
best.
I think he can. I think he can win this.
If he does, it'll be some feat. It really will.
That's the true commentator's curse coming into effect there, everyone.
There you go. Jonah's in hard disagreement, saying Dylan won't win. I mean, you're looking at, what, 6 seconds between P3 and P1? Yes, a 5-second time penalty, but he's still going to have to catch up. He's still going to have to make the overtakes. Maybe a podium, but I don't think a race win.
You never know. Stranger things have happened in Formula 1, Josh. What did Murray Walker always say about motorsport?
Catching is one thing, overtaking is another.
Well, he did say that. But yeah. Oh, I think there's a bit of desync there from Dylan.
Are you sure?
On my screen it was, unless it's my desync.
It might be you, because for me, he just went down the inside of Justin Ayertz.
Well, he did that on my screen, but I was on board with him, and then he glitched around and then carried on.
Might just be his wheel malfunctioning again.
Very possibly. Well, hopefully he doesn't get disconnected again. 1.9 seconds, or 2 seconds out of the car in front. But they're both caught in DRS train. He's so good through this middle part of the lap, Josh.
He's ridiculous, isn't he? He's just able to get that car turned in and get on the power nice and early to be able to get the exit going down into these straights where you might not necessarily feel like it's too long of a straight, but being able to get a solid exit to be able to carry a couple of extra kph out the corner is so imperative around this circuit to be able to maximise your lap time, and it's certainly what he's doing. He's somewhat putting, you know, less of a race-caring line through these last couple of laps, and certainly more of a, I'm just going to maximise the lap time, I'm not necessarily worried about trying to make the overtakes, I'll just drive quick. Once I get behind them, I'll go for a move down into turn 1 so I can focus on being able to use my ability to pull away in sector 2, and it is just fantastic to see.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds now behind the car in front. 2 second gap out between Alan and Jack. Erwin another 4.8 seconds back behind. And then only 5/10 behind for Grosjean in 4th place. Hopefully Dylan can find himself at least on the podium places. I think that, as you probably mentioned, that win is probably out of his reach just because of the gap between Erwin and Alan. But like, I imagine if we had a few more laps, I think he probably could win it.
Potentially, and with Erwin making a little bit of an error heading through there, as we've got a CPI car.
It's too late for a safety car.
Oh, okay. Currently parked stationary into turn 13, just at the bridge. But we do have a couple of views of the cars running around, trying to close up a little bit. Of course, Grosjean is one of them. Another one is going to be Wizard Oz here. Currently in P8 for TTM. The Alpine car looking to get on the hunt here for Killian, who does have that time penalty attached to his name. But that's not going to stop Wizard trying to make a couple of moves.
Nope, it certainly won't. And just want to point out that Dylan is now 5/10 behind Grosjean. 4/10 now. He is right on the rear of that Red Bull car. The CPI driver has driven a fantastic race here. And I think we'll finish a solid P5, Josh, but I don't see him defending Dylan. I think Dylan's going to fly past here.
Oh, he is just inevitable, isn't he, at the end of the day?
I think Killian's made a mistake there because he's just dropped down to P9.
Yeah, he lost 2 positions out of it. But we're going to focus on Dylan here. Watch him size up this move heading down into turn 1. It seems to be one of his favourite positions to try and get this overtake. He's got so much of a better run through the final corner than most of the other cars around him. He's able to get this move down the inside of turn 1 so that he can start focusing on the exit of turn 5 to be able to pull out a bit of a gap heading through 6 into 7. It is fantastic the way he's somewhat navigating around this traffic, which by all means is not slow.
No, it certainly isn't. And we are looking at least at a P3 finish here for Dylan, which means it'll be a 1-3 for TF10. Unless he can catch up a little bit to Alan, then it'll be a 2-3 with Dylan finishing second, because he just needs to catch up a bit to Alan, and he can jump his teammate with the time penalty.
Certainly so. End of the day, a double podium isn't a bad way to seal up a Constructors' Championship or a team championship here, as I should say at EML, because it's not just been the constructor, it's been everyone behind the scenes here. You know, you sit there and you think about it, these drivers swapping in, swapping out, of course, they've just been fantastic throughout the entire season. TF10 being consistent, done exactly what they needed to do, maximise the points when they were available, through and through, deserving champions in my opinion.
Yep, certainly they've done nothing wrong really this whole season, have they? And yeah, it's going to be a 2-3 at least. It's definitely going to be a 2-3. That is for sure. For sure. But we're going on to, well, we're on to lap 29 of 31. Danico gets in front of Killian as well, who's just dropping back at the moment. But he would have dropped back that far anyway due to his time penalty, so it's not too disastrous of a day for him, for NLR. But where is Dylan going to line this move up? Is he going to make it on this lap, or do you reckon he's following through the middle sector on this lap and then going to try and make the move on the next lap?
Just following the middle sector. You'll naturally gain in the middle sector just because of the way Dylan is, his driving style, the amount of pace he's able to somewhat extract out of the car through the middle sector. Again, we mention it, it's absolutely fantastic. But at the same time, he knows where he wants to overtake. He wants to get that overtake sorted down into turn 1 so he can build a little bit of a gap through sector 2 to not be vulnerable heading back down these very crucial DRS straights. I mean, even the DRS straight from 13 to 14 is not necessarily a great overtaking opportunity, but it is crucial to be able to try and hold on to the car in front to be able to size up a move heading into the likes of turn 1 with the DRS, or maybe even turn 7. There's so many intricate parts around the circuit, you've got to keep it going through to be able to maximise and really benefit yourself from being attacked.
Certainly, for sure. But down the DRS straight now, it's Dylan closing in on a win here for P3, the final podium spot. And I think he will be picking it up in a few laps' time. We're on to the penultimate lap now. Lap 31. Sorry, lap 30 of 31, I should say. And it has been a thrilling second part of this race, mostly due to Dylan's comeback drive because of his wheel disconnecting. I feel like we might have been in for a bit of a boring end to the race if that hadn't have happened, Josh.
Perhaps, but at the same time, it's given us something to sit and watch, it's given us something to cheer about. We've got a great little battle here from P6 all the way down to P10. All the cars in the DRS train looking to follow one another, looking to try and maximise their potential point scoring results. As no, Grosjean picks himself up a 3-second penalty.
I think it'll matter too much.
It probably won't, unless Justin ends up finding a turbo attached to the back of his car, or a little bit of nitrous to try and help him down one of the straights. But Dylan is within that range, 3 temps. This is where he's going to be looking to try and somewhat catch Erwin off guard a little bit. As you can see, he's very good at getting that rear end rotated in, so he can straighten up the corner just a little bit quicker. He's absolutely fantastic when it comes to these close quarters overtaking scenarios.
Jensen in front of Wizard of Oz. Danico in front of Wizard of Oz as well. That's quite the intense battle going on between 9th, 8th and 7th. We're still watching... well, I'm currently watching Dylan. I don't know what you're watching right now, Josh.
Dylan, he's looking for this move. You can sense it coming.
He's going for it now. Is he going to go for it down the inside on this occasion? No, he's not. He's waiting his time. Oh, we made a little mistake there, Josh. Was he... He might have just outbroke himself a little bit. But I think... Dylan's he's going to have one more chance here, but as he left, well, hopefully he's not left it a bit too late, but I think we know where he's going for. The final corner, his favourite place to make an overtake into turn 1, but he didn't have the best exit out of the corner there, Josh.
He didn't, but we've seen it time and time again. The amount of grip he's got through that final corner is ridiculous. The way he's able to get that car darted up, balanced up. You can see him pulling in closer and closer, not deploying any of the battery, sitting back for the time being. He's waiting for a better opportunity. He feels like there's a different place on the circuit. He's going to be able to maximise this potential for an overtake, as you can see him struggling with the rear end now. All that sliding to get the car straightened up hasn't done his rears any good. They're wearing slightly quicker than the fronts, but you can see now he's got that DRS wide open. He's closing in at a rate of knots, looking to try and get this overtake sorted on Erwin, heading into turn 7. But Erwin moves over to the inside, gives him a little bit of a dummy. Not necessarily defending thin air. He's done a fantastic job so far holding on to this P3, and Dylan is doing everything in his power to try and power through, but at the same time, Erwin standing up firm to it, not letting that McLaren of Dylan get the way it wants.
I don't know if Dylan can get in front of Erwin here. Erwin's had such a fantastic race. His wheel's gone! His wheel's disconnected! That's definitely a wheel disconnection from Dylan.
Oh dear. That is not ideal in
and that's
the
ended
slightest.
Dylan's charge for the podium.
Well, this is all going to come down to how well the AI can drive. Will the AI be able to secure TF10 the championship here?
I mean, it should do. But we're going to watch as Jack Lav will cross the line in P1, but it won't secure him the race victory here at Singapore. He will cross the line P1, but with a 5-second time penalty, I mean, Alan will pick up the race victory. Erwin will come home in third place, and I think Dylan will just hold off in fourth there. Comes home fourth place. Grosjean comes home in fifth, followed by Jensen, Danny, Coe, Justin Ayers, Wizard of Oz, and Killian will round out your top 10, Josh.
Absolutely fantastic stuff from all those drivers. Of course, Alexi in P11. Afonso here looking to get himself into P12, depending on the penalties. But Justin Chevalier is trying to push him all the way through here. The ABS outfit certainly not going to be too disappointed with a P13 and a P3 there. At the end of the day, Elias Vassouras on that soft compound tyre went for the fastest lap. We'll have a little look to see if he's got it now. Hold on, there we go. Currently doesn't have it, but at the same time, if he's able to somewhat execute his final corner perfectly, he might be able to have just nicked it there. Let's have a little look. As he's up towards the line, he doesn't get the fastest lap. We've got Ricardo next across the line. Disappointing result there for the LR driver, but of course, still got one more round to bounce back to give it his all. And then Luke Mills in P16, current fastest lap holder. It's not set to change. Had that little slip up in the final corner. If he didn't have that, he could very much have been on for a top 5 here today.
Certainly could have been, but unfortunately that is how it goes sometimes in motorsport, Josh. And as they come across the line, we're still waiting for just Eruption to come across the line now, and he will be the last. He'll be the last finisher of this, and yet TF10 champions confirmed officially now.
Yes, congratulations to the entire TF10 outfit, both the drivers, engineers, and supporting staff along with that organisation. Fantastic result for him, being able to come into EML, pick up the wins where it's necessary, be able to put on dominating performances. It's been an absolute pleasure watching the growth throughout the season, getting better and better. Real question is, what's left in store for them? What can they go and do? Are they do you reckon they're potentially looking at maybe a Season 7 return to EML?
Well, I'm sure it's possible to defend their titles. I mean, if that's what they want to do, that's what they'll come and do, won't they?
Absolutely. Been a solid result from all the way from start to end. But let's have one last look here at the classifications of that race. We've got Alan P1, Jack P2, Erwin P3, Dylan P4, Grosjean P5, Jensen Randall P6, Danny Coe P7, Justin Ayers P8, Wizard P9, Killian P10, Alexi P11, Paolo P12, Justin P13, Elias P14, Ricardo P15, Luke Mills P16, Eruption 17, Zach a lap down P18, Nick P19, and Danny Daniels with the DNF there in P20. Overall, as far as Singapore goes, I can't be too mad at that one. That was solid.
Nope, solid race. First half was a bit boring, but second half definitely pulled out the park, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and thank you everyone in chat for sticking with us through that, despite the first half of the race being more of what we thought was going to be a bit of a waffle fest. Absolutely fantastic stuff from
without
all
any
of
waffles.
You. Yes, very little waffles towards the end there as it was action-packed. But once again, thank you everyone for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully we'll still be able to get you back here next week. Of course, we do have the final round of the season. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, it will be Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. A circuit, again, filled with DRS zones and slipstream.
Should be a very fun one, though. Should be very interesting.
Could be.
Should be something.
Maybe it'll rain.
Ooh, don't start teasing me, Alex. Don't start teasing me. But again, once again, thank you to EML for letting us be here, and thank you for Maze for setting all this up. Again, you've all been fantastic in chat, but this is it. This is the end of the stream. We'll get that championship interview sorted for next week with TF10. See how they feel about it all. See whether they're looking to plan on defending their title. But until then, that's been it from me. I've been Josh, otherwise known as JGM. That over has been Alex, otherwise known as Deathlink. And I suppose we'll catch you around for next week's stream. But don't forget, we do have the console side here at EML as well. So don't forget to check that out. Make sure you hit the bell on subscribe so you get notified for when we go live. But until then, we'll catch you around. Goodbye.